Check.
Yeah, we're in there. So we can get into, I want to know how you got into college football. I want to know your team. And then we can just get into this year, even though we're 3 weeks in.
Let's get it.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
You ready?
Yep.
All right, let's go, dude. Welcome back to another episode of Highly Unapologetic, the podcast. I'm your host. With you as always, Adam, a friend of the show, joining me tonight to do something that him and I have been talking about probably for about a year now. No, I'll say a couple years, 2020,
it's been
when A&M got shafted out of the playoffs. But friend of the show, I got the homie Izzy over here tonight on the mics. And, let's just get down to it. We're going to talk about college football. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a huge baseball guy. Like, that's my number one. Baseball, anything, I'm a baseball nerd. But right under that, and the gap isn't too huge, is college football. Not big into the NBA. That bores me. The NFL, nah. But college football, man, I can talk all day long. And I guess since we met and really got friendly and actually started talking away from flag football, there's been a lot of college football conversations between the two of us.
Yeah.
And most of them not so friendly.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
So we got another homie named Paul. Y'all have seen Paul on the podcast before. He chickened out tonight because Texas almost wet the bed last night to UTSA. Oof. I know that guy was scared there in that first half. Frank Harris was kind of doing whatever he wanted.
Man, it was a good game.
Yeah, it was a good game in the first half. And Texas kind of ran away with it. But he got scared, decided not to join us, so that is what it is. So anyways, welcome. Appreciate you coming through. So here's what I want to know, okay? We've never, ever had a conversation, and you don't give any kind of hints on who you cheer for, okay? Right. So let's get that out of the way first. Who's your team? Is it Oregon?
Man, yeah, you know what? It is Oregon, yeah, it's Oregon.
Okay.
But
tell me how, though.
Okay, so...
Because I know how I became an A&M fan.
Okay, so Oregon, man, so now, I don't know if you hear about them now because everybody's all into the flashiness of the uniforms and this and that, blah, blah, but I've actually liked them when I was, I don't even remember what grade I was in, maybe in high school, middle school. My dad one day rented the NCAA college football game, which I'm glad they're going to bring it back, I think, next year. I'm
absolutely,
excited.
Yeah.
So, so anyways, my dad rented it for me, and I don't remember what year it was. Joey Harrington was on the cover.
Okay.
So I'm young. I don't know who it was. I'm there trying to look him up, and I just noticed he had the O on his helmet. So that was the go-to team that I picked up on there, and ever since then I just started watching them. I think Joey Harrington was the first quarterback I knew of in college football ever, and then I started watching it, playing the game more, and then I just started following Oregon just from there.
Yeah.
Back when Dennis Dixon was there.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Been a couple of years, man.
So, Oregon, I would say, is right on par with A&M. Expectations every year, could do something, usually doesn't. Y'all have gone a little further than A&M has, I guess, since the BCS Bowl or the BCS era kind of started. I mean, y'all have gone to one national championship, or was it two? Two. And lost both of them?
Yeah, man.
Okay. So A&M's never been there, but there's still like to me with Oregon, like high expectations with fans, but low production, with the team. So
I think people view them more now as more as a fashion statement.
Yeah.
So honestly, I don't rock too much Oregon gear anymore, just because I'm tired of hearing people saying about. You just recently. It's like, nah. I got some close homies that are like, nah, I know this guy from a while.
You get the Frank Ortega treatment, yes?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
No, he is a I'm a bandwagon fan. Yeah, I picked up on Oregon when they were winning. Because when we found out he was an Oregon fan, we thought, okay, cool, he's an Oregon fan for everything. Oh, no. He's a Kansas basketball fan. Okay? So he picks up on
whoever's in the spotlight.
Yeah. So Kansas was good when he was picking his team there, so he jumped on, and I guess Oregon was.
I mean, Frank's one dude I like to argue with on Facebook.
Listen, I've said it 100 times. I'll say it 100 times again. I hate Internet Frank. I hate Facebook Frank.
He's a troll, man.
I love in-person Frank. That's my homie. I'll call that dude to come play softball. He'll show up last minute. You know, he's a good dude. But get him on the internet, I want nothing to do with that dude.
He's wilding out there too much.
Politics, sports, everything. So, but yeah, he's a grade A troll. I mean, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. Usually I don't, but whatever. A&M for me is, my family grew up Longhorn fans, except for my mother. My mother grew up in Oklahoma, so she's an OU fan. But my dad grew up in the Hill Country area, so closer to Austin, and a UT fan. But I remember, man, when I was in second grade, my teacher, Miss Brown, she's an old lady. Didn't like her. She called my mom a lot. But she went to A&M, and I guess she had season tickets, and she would go to the games every weekend, and I guess she would get the sodas and the memorabilia cups. And at the end of the season, she brought us all a A&M cup. And I said, I like that. I'm an A&M fan now.
Hey, that's cool, man.
Dad didn't like it too much, whatever. But my dad and I didn't see eye to eye on many of our sports teams. Probably any of our sports team. He was a Cowboy fan. I'm an Eagle fan. He liked the Rangers and the Astros. I'm an Angels fan.
Man, I'm sorry. I'll root for A&M. Majority of the Texas teams, I'll root for. The thing about A&M though, man, is at Kielbasa, where I work at, man, everybody that's
an A&M fan.
They've all went to A&M, so they're all fans, and I'm over it. So
that's one thing about an A&M grad, man. They're always the boss.
And they're all office personnel. Office personnel. So,
yeah, that's that. Listen, A&M it's a weird place. It's so there was a dude on Twitter actually today I saw, and he was a writer. I want to say for the New York Times, maybe Washington Post, somewhere over in that area. And he had a video of A&M's Midnight Yell from this past weekend. And his caption was, Texas A&M might be the cringiest university in the nation. And it had a whole bunch of A&M fans commenting, accepting it. Yeah, we are. We're a cult. We're this, we're that. We're proud of it. That's one thing. Like, you think this is an insult. You telling us we're cringy, you telling us we're a cult, that's not an insult to us. Like,
We'll take it.
We know.
we own it.
Yeah, so, it is what it is. But, man, we're 3 weeks into the season. Today is September 18th. Yesterday was week 3, really, because I guess the first week 0, only had a few good games. But this is week 3 of all the full season going on. And there's literally a lot to talk about, but there's literally not a lot to talk about. Because at the end, I'm going to give a prediction, and it's just how I see it. So, what do you want to start with?
Wherever you want to start.
Listen, let's start with Texas, since Paul's not here, and let's talk trash about Texas. Okay. So, they started out with Lafayette, Alabama, and yesterday UTSA.
Yeah.
Okay, so last week they played Alabama. They played Alabama pretty good. I think they lost by a point. They should have won that game. And I'm not ready to call that the ref's fault at all.
No.
That wasn't a safety. He wasn't down. He got rid of it. So that was a good call. I think there were a lot of home cooking calls for Texas. So you get all the home cooking calls, you should win you should do a little something with it, and Texas just couldn't do it.
You being a little biased with that shirt on?
Maybe so. Maybe. I hate Texas. I do. So, as a fan of the different teams, like a Spurs fan, I hate the Mavericks. As a Angels fan, I hate the Astros and the Rangers. And as an Eagles fan, I hate the Cowboys. So, as the A&M fan, of course, Texas is. I hate them. I will cheer against Texas. I don't care who they're playing. I hate LSU, but if they're playing LSU, I'm cheering for LSU. I hate Arkansas, but if Texas is playing Arkansas, I hope Arkansas kills them.
Man, we'll get into Arkansas in a little bit, man.
No, man. Got a good game coming up next week.
KJ Jefferson, come on, man.
Listen. Oh, man.
We'll get there.
But anyways, so, yeah, that's how I felt about Alabama. And I think I don't know if it was you or if it was Paul that I texted that I'm not ready to call Texas good. I might be more leaning toward Alabama's not as good as we think they are.
You texted me that. I remember.
Okay.
Yeah, I read
okay,
it.
That was you. Cool.
Yeah.
So you didn't really respond back directly to that text, but I want to know your feelings.
Man, it's too early to tell, man. I mean, as you saw, we saw them play UTSA yesterday. And
right.
I mean, it was a good game. Now, is Texas good or not? I mean, or is Bama not that good?
Right.
Or is UTSA better than we think?
Okay.
See, there's a lot to it. And that's what you know what, man? And that's what I like about college, just because every underdog is dangerous.
Right.
Every underdog. I mean,
oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right now, we got Appalachian State rolling right now, dude.
Yeah.
And so.
I wish they would have lost yesterday.
Oh, man. But,
that's a great play.
I don't know, man. As far as Texas, I think there was about 2 calls maybe that I didn't like. Or 2 missed calls, I'd rather say.
There were some missed calls.
And I think one of those probably would have put in Texas' favor. I think it would have set them up for
a win.
Yeah. But, I mean.
I will say this. Ewers, I texted Paul when they were playing Louisiana. I said, Quinn Ewers is not impressing me right now. I'm not impressed. Yeah, I better get Arch Manning here quick because this guy. But Quinn Ewers he was killing Alabama before he got hurt.
Yeah.
And that was a legal tackle, by the way. There's no way that should have been a penalty. Good, hard, clean tackle.
We'll get into the target and all that in a little bit. There's just we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, I hate that targeting rule. I've always hated it. I mean, define it one way, don't call it another. You know what I mean? But yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, I think Texas is they're headed the right direction. It's not going to be this year. I don't think Hudson Card.
I mean, here's the thing about Texas. They show up against big names and against smaller names, they struggle. And that's been the past few years with Texas. I mean, what was that one year in that bowl game? They showed up and they beat the crap out of Georgia.
Yeah, we're back.
And then here they are again this year against Bama.
Right.
And then they beat OU in the Red River Showdown. So,
right.
And then they struggle against like Baylor, or they lose, some like a team that they should be
Kansas.
beating. Kansas.
Listen.
So
Texas, I think, has 3 more losses on their schedule. OU's going to beat them.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State's going to kill them, and Baylor's going to beat them.
So when it comes to OU and Texas, I get a lot of backlash on Facebook because I always pick Oklahoma in the Red River Showdown.
Right.
I think you see me pick every year.
Yeah.
And then that one year that they won, oh my God!
They came for you.
Oh, they did. But every year though, I pick OU. This year I'm picking OU again. So
yeah, I'm picking OU.
And I have a lot of Texas.
Who do you have winning the Big 12? OU's come out a little stronger than I thought they would. But I don't think they're good enough to beat Oklahoma State. TCU's still undefeated right now. Baylor lost that bad one to BYU, but they killed. I can't remember who they played yesterday.
I wouldn't count Baylor out.
No, I'm not.
Not 100.
Absolutely not.
I still see it going between. Is OU in the Big 12 North?
There's no North or South. It's just they all play each other. Honestly, I think it'll come down to Bedlam.
Yeah.
Whoever wins Bedlam wins that conference. Oklahoma State or Oklahoma. I think it'll be Oklahoma State this year.
I'm gonna go with either OU or Baylor, man.
Oh yeah,
one of those two.
You like Baylor still?
Yeah.
Even though they lost who'd they lose to? BYU.
BYU in that overtime. I think it was double overtime, or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but
Baylor's not trash. Art Briles did some good things with him before he his little tumultuous exit. But who is their coach after that? Rule, and now he's in Carolina. He let them in a good spot.
Who do they got this year? He's not a returning coach. Is he new? Or is
I don't know. I don't know who it is. Yeah, no, it's just he's in his second year because that one coach went to Carolina, the Panthers. So, yeah, Big 12 up in the air. It doesn't matter because none of them are going to make the playoffs unless they just start smoking teams. If Oklahoma wins every game by 50.
Man, that's the thing about the Big 12, even the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Man, they just beat up on each other and it kills their chances.
No, absolutely.
So.
And here's the thing. Here's what I have learned about the college football playoffs. Okay, if we put in and I'm just going to use Oregon just for giggles here. But if I put in Oregon 3 years in a row and they get blown out 3 years in a row, Oregon represents the Pac-12, and I'm not taking another chance on the Pac-12 when I could have put in a Georgia team who lost to Alabama in the SEC championship by 3 points, but that's their only loss. So if I've got Georgia with one loss and I've got Oregon undefeated, Oregon, what has Oregon done the last 3 years when we put them in? Oh, they wet the bed, so let me put Georgia in. It's the same with the Big 12. Oklahoma's been to the playoffs a few times. They wet the bed. So I'm going to take this Georgia team over an undefeated Baylor team type thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my theory. So Pac-12, Big 12, they're the same, one and the same, unless Oregon comes out and just smokes the field. Every game they're winning by 30, 40 points.
The past 2 games they did. Yeah, like you said, wet the bed against Georgia, but they had a win last week and this past Saturday. So Bo Nix, I don't know, maybe that's what he needed. Confidence boost in these next 2 games.
Oh, he looked great yesterday.
Yeah.
He looked super good yesterday.
Yes.
So does Oregon play USC this year? Are they on the schedule or are they going to wait till the championship?
No, I think they have that.
That'll be
a good schedule.
That'll be a good game whenever it is.
USC's nice this year, man.
Yeah, USC's super nice this
year. USC stole their running back.
Oregon's running back?
From last year. He's one of the backs there, and then you have
Caleb Williams
came from OU.
Lincoln Riley. So Lincoln Riley has pretty much taken OU out west. So that's good. So yeah, that's that. Now you got your top 4 is who's the top 4 right now? Georgia, Alabama, Clemson, and Michigan. No,
Ohio State.
And Michigan. Where's Clemson at?
5.
Okay, cool. So top 5 are kind of the usual suspects with the exception of Michigan.
Yeah.
That's going to be another great game at the end of this year is Michigan and Ohio State. And listen, Michigan's going to kill Ohio State. And I'll tell you why, okay? We watched that first game, Ohio State and Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And that was a horribly played game by both ends. Notre Dame sucks. Notre Dame shouldn't have even been sniffing number 4 at the beginning of the year. Everybody said it. They come out, they play an okay game against Ohio State. I'll say, okay, well, maybe Notre Dame's for real. And then they turn around and they lose to – who did they lose to the next week? Horrible team. Marshall. Lost to Marshall.
Yeah.
And we went, what in the world is going on here? So maybe we know Notre Dame sucks – and Ohio State's not as good as everyone's saying that they are because C.J. Stroud looked horrible against Notre Dame. So bad. And so my thoughts are, man, Michigan is going to kill this Ohio State team.
I'm going to disagree.
Okay.
I'm not a believer in Michigan. To me, Michigan is like Notre Dame. I like Notre Dame. I do. I like Notre Dame. I have a hat. I used to rock their gear also. I just like Notre Dame.
Adam.
But man, you can't count on them in a big game ever. You had when they went to the championship that year against Bama. What happened? Blowout. Everybody knew that. I think they went twice. Wasn't it twice they went to a championship or even just made it to the playoffs?
Talking about Michigan?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame? Oh, yeah. They lost to Bama. They got destroyed by Bama.
They're notoriously bad at big games.
Yeah.
So against this Ohio State, Ohio State. I don't know, man. I still think it's too early to tell. It could have been maybe first game jitters, first game of the season, maybe sloppy, but
they played Cal yesterday, and Cal was playing them tough. I think I looked at one point, and Cal had a lead on Notre Dame.
Hey, man, Cal's played some tough teams tough.
Okay.
As trashy as they are, for some reason, when they play ranked teams, they play good.
It's real easy to get up for a big game. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like if I'm A&M and we're struggling this year and we're coming up against Texas, it's easy to get up and play that one game and win that game because that's who you hate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as a Cal football player, maybe you're going, oh man, we got nothing to lose, type thing when they're playing someone like a big name like Notre Dame or.
I think that's every underdog though, and I think that's what makes college interesting because I think every underdog's like, we got nothing to lose. We're not gonna,
no,
we're
exactly.
not in our conference. I mean,
no, exactly. And Appalachian State is that's a prime example. They come into Texas A&M last week and both played sloppy. I mean, Appalachian State didn't just kill A&M, but they beat them. They played well enough too, and then they almost come in and wet the bed against Troy. I literally texted my son with a minute left and said, Appalachian State's about to get beat by Troy. And my son sent back good. And then
they had that last-minute touchdown.
They had that last-second touchdown. Yep. I said, I think I just jinxed them. I just jinxed Troy. Yeah. My bad. Because I sent that to Riley and Paul. Paul was obliterated by then, so he didn't know what I was talking about because I think he went and tailgated. So he started early.
Yeah.
But that would have been hilarious. All that trash talking that Appalachian State and UT and everybody did toward A&M, and then Appalachian State loses that game. Man, what could have been?
I'll tell you what, man. I do miss that Texas A&M rivalry.
Yeah,
on Thanksgiving.
So it won't come back to Thanksgiving, I don't think, because they got LSU and A&M on Thanksgiving weekend. So LSU, and A&M considers LSU their big rival now. I don't know why, but that's if you talk to a fan, who's your rival? LSU, or South Carolina.
I'm gonna ask people at work. I'm gonna see who.
Yeah, you
who's
should. You should.
I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. Yeah, I want to know.
I got you.
But that's according to Twitter.
Okay.
I follow a lot of A&M Twitter. I follow a lot of UT Twitter. UT and A&M and OU Twitter is a toxic rabbit hole, and once you get down in there, you start getting. I get mad. I don't participate. I'm just a watcher, like TikTok.
Yeah.
I don't make TikToks. I just go on and watch
Same.
TikToks. That's a bathroom activity. TikTok.
Same.
So is Twitter. Twitter is a bathroom activity. You get down there. Like, man, I finished using the bathroom 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Here I am.
Down the rabbit hole, yep.
Yeah.
I got you.
So, but you start reading A&M and UT and OU Twitter. It makes me mad. Just the trash talking that goes on back and forth. And you always find that one Texas or OU fan that says something off the wall. Like, for example, you'll have an A&M and a Texas guy just going back and forth, talking trash, and then that Texas fan will bring up the bonfire.
The one that collapsed?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Horrible human being wants to bring up kids dying and a bonfire from over 20 years ago, and that's the rabbit hole I like going down. Now I'm going to click your Twitter handle and go down and see what other kind of off-the-wall garbage you say. So, Texas is trash, dude. And let me just say this too, okay? Texas is just like the Dallas Cowboys. I don't necessarily hate the Dallas Cowboys, the players, okay? I hate their fans. I hate their fans the most. And I'm going to tell you something, okay? Dallas Cowboy fans and UT fans, they're the same people. And that's why I hate them both.
That's funny you say that.
Okay.
I was watching College Game Day and somebody had the sign that says Texas is the Dallas Cowboys of college football. Yeah.
I don't necessarily hate any Texas players. I think Quinn Ewers is a dork, but it's their fans.
Fan base.
Yeah, it's the fan base that I can't stand. So, naturally, I hate Texas.
Gotcha.
I can't stand Dallas Cowboy fans, so naturally, I hate the team and wish they would have lost to the Bengals today. But they didn't. So, yeah, so that's that. Who we got? ACC. there's nothing to talk about in the ACC. Clemson's going to win that. Who's in there with them? North Carolina? They're not going to do anything.
Miami, Florida State.
Miami, Florida State. Miami sucks. There's no way Miami should have been ranked in the top 15 at the beginning of the year. They're boo-boo.
Who?
They played Bethune and some other sorry team.
Who beat LSU at the opening? Oh,
Florida State.
Florida State.
So
maybe that'll be a good game, Florida State and Miami.
I don't know. It doesn't mean okay. So it's a formality. The ACC is a formality this year because it's going to be Clemson. Even though I'll say this, hot take here, DJ, whatever his last name is,
ukulele, whatever his name is.
Yeah, ukulele, whatever his name is, trash. Yo, when you are slated to fill the shoes of Trevor Lawrence, who is up here, and you're playing at a level down here, but you're still winning, that's a reflection of your horrible conference, right? Oh, NC State. They're pretty good. They're in the top 12, I think.
The Wolf Pack.
Yeah, the Wolf Pack. And they got the coolest logo, too, by the way. I'm just going to say it right now. That little cartoon wolf.
Just a basic wolf, right?
Yeah, it's a wolf, and they got it on the helmet. It looks pretty sweet. So that's a game I would be looking forward to, NC State and Clemson. I don't know if it's in the – I bet it is in the regular season because they're both in North Carolina. No, they're in Clemson, South Carolina, but neither here nor there. I think they're in the same division of that conference. So that'll be a good one to look forward to. But I think outside of that, everything else is just a formality. Clemson, whoever wins that game is gonna run away with it. Just because Florida State's not Florida State, Miami's not Miami. So there's one of your playoff teams right there, Clemson. We said Big Ten.
So wait. So who in the top 4 is out if Clemson's in right now?
It'll be the winner of the Michigan and Ohio State game.
I think it's going to come down to overall record, though, because they both have a 1 loss, or one has a 1 loss and undefeated. They might still be in there, depending on Clemson's record as well.
Well, it also depends. Yeah, I mean, it also depends on the Georgia and Alabama situation.
Correct.
Okay, so we said earlier that we weren't sure if Texas was good or if Alabama is not as good as we think they are. Mm-hmm. If Georgia comes out and blasts Alabama in the SEC championship, like I think they would, Alabama could be out.
Man, I don't see it like that.
I don't see it happening like that, just because on the opposite end of, hey, we've put OU in here every year and they suck, so we're not going to put any Big 12 teams in because of that. Alabama's a regular in these playoffs. They win all the time. They bring the revenue, they bring the fans, they travel well. Just because they got beat by Georgia by 100 points, we're still going to put them in. Yeah. We're still going to put them in to play this Ohio State team, and they're still going to give us a good showing.
Yeah.
Type. So there's an opposite end to, we're not letting you in for this reason, but we're going to let you in for this reason.
I agree.
Type thing.
Yeah, I agree.
So we got, I'm just going to write this down on here. So we got UGA, Bama, OSU, Clemson, and I'm not putting them in order.
Michigan.
And Michigan. U of M. Okay, so let's go through this real quick, dude.
Okay.
I think we can do it.
All right.
Big Ten, OSU. They struggled first game. I think they struggled for a half last week too, but then they blew out Toledo yesterday. Okay.
It's Toledo.
Yeah, it's Toledo. Once they get into the games against Wisconsin, against Penn State looked really good yesterday against Auburn.
It's going to be a good one.
Once they get into the meat of that Big Ten schedule, I think they'll lose a stupid game that they shouldn't have lost. They might come in and beat Penn State pretty good, but then Indiana comes in next week and
Indiana's 3-0 right now.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Ohio State struggled with Indiana that year. They won 6 games and made it to the playoffs over Texas A&M.
Oh, you remember?
Yeah, I'm still bitter. Same thing with Michigan. But I think Michigan's built a little better than Ohio State this year. They've got 2 quarterbacks. One went undefeated last year. Not very athletic, but can pocket pass. That running game is solid, Michigan's. Yeah. But then they got another quarterback who is super athletic, and you can see the change of pace when he comes into the game, and he's still moving the rock. I don't think Michigan is going to lose a game at all this season. I don't. I don't see that. Wisconsin's going to come in and Michigan's going to trounce them. Penn State come in, Michigan's going to trounce them. Ohio State, I think they play in Michigan this year, if I'm not mistaken. I'll look that up right now, as a matter of fact. And especially,
does Michigan play Penn State? You said?
I'm looking right now.
Check that one. And where are they playing them at?
I got you. Michigan Wolverines football.
I feel like depending on where they play at, if they play at Penn State with the whiteout, Michigan better watch out. Man.
All right, so they are at Iowa, which Iowa is not very good.
No.
Penn State at Michigan.
Oh, in the big house.
In the big house, so that's going to be a win for Michigan, I think.
I think it'll be closer than
the following week after Penn State, Michigan State is in town in the big house, which might put them on upset alert depending on how that Penn State game goes. If that's a close Penn State game and Michigan wins, I'd put them on upset alert against Michigan State. But if they come out and just kill Penn State like I think they should, they'll kill Michigan State as well.
I think that Penn State's going to be close. We'll watch that one.
No, absolutely. I do too. Next week they're at Rutgers. No big deal. The following week after that, Nebraska's in town. The following week after that, Illinois is in town. And then it's Michigan at Ohio State to close out the Big Ten.
It's going to be a good one.
That's going to be a great one, I think. And I still think Michigan is just head and shoulders above. That running game is going to give all these teams problems. Michigan's running game. Okay. And then you got a quarterback who can move around. So that's my opinion on the Big Ten. I think it's going to come down to Ohio State and Michigan, and then whoever Michigan plays in the Big Ten championship, it's not going to be a Big Ten championship because it's going to be a Illinois or Indiana or whatever type Northwestern team. I think
I'm going to go with. I don't know, man. It's going to depend on the Penn State game, man.
Yeah. That's one we should probably watch together.
Let me know.
Yeah.
I'm going to go.
Yeah, we can do something here. I don't know if you see my setup right there.
Yeah, I seen it.
Okay, so the first week of college football, A&M and Michigan played at 11 o'clock. So I had Michigan up on the big TV, and then I had A&M up on the big TV and Michigan down there on the other one, and just watching them both. And so that's kind of how I've been doing it every week, is putting the A&M game on one TV and then another game that I want to watch on the other.
It's a nice setup, man.
Yeah. So, but once football season's over, that's going away.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's crowded over there.
Back to the room.
Yeah, but anyways. Yeah, so the only reason I can do that is that TV that is down lower was in Riley's room with cable. And Riley got in trouble. So I took it out of his room as a punishment, and it's never made its way back. You wanna know the story?
Let's hear the story.
I'll give you the abridged version, the condensed version. Riley likes to act up on the bus, and this is last school year. He was in 8th grade last year. He's a freshman right now. Riley likes to be goofy on the bus. He's got a little goon squad on the bus, and they like to get loud and whatever else. One time we get a call, and I'll just say this now. Pardon the language, because we don't cuss on this podcast, but Riley got in trouble with the bus driver because he was talking to his little homies about boners.
Okay.
Why you're talking to your homies about boners, I don't know. Calm that down. But it was at that moment I told him, yo, if you get kicked off the bus, don't get kicked off the bus. That's all I'm going to say to him. And he's he just kind of catches my eye, yes, sir. He's scared. As he should be, because I'm a large man. So fast forward to the last week of school. I'm at the gym. It's like 9:30 in the morning. I'm at the gym. I get out of the gym. I look at my phone, and I've got 4 or 5 missed calls from his mother, 4 or 5 text messages from his mother, talking about, where are you at? I need somebody to go pick Riley up. He just got suspended and kicked off the bus. So I said, what do you mean Riley got suspended and kicked off the bus? Him and his little goon squad decided they were going to play truth or dare on the bus with one of the little girls that they sit by, and Riley thought it was a good idea to rub her thigh and grab her booty. And she reported him and the goon squad. So,
I shouldn't be laughing.
So, I mean, listen, when his mom says, Adam, they were talking about boners on the bus, I had to put it on mute because I did laugh. And I'm like, yo, that's a 13-year-old boy being a 13-year-old boy talking about bone dogs and, whatever with your homies. Like, he's great. Okay, he's growing up, but that's funny, but we got to be tough. Okay, cool. So, okay, you grabbed this girl's booty. No, it wasn't me. It was my friend, but I was sitting on the aisle. He reached up and grabbed her. She turned around. He's already sitting down, and here I am with this grin on my face, like, and so she thought it was me. And I'm like, oh, no, dude. So we had to have that big, long talk about teaching him the very, very subtle difference between a girl's real laugh and her uncomfortable laugh. It might sound the same, but there will be hints to it being different. And you need to learn that, and you need to learn that ASAP, because I'm not going to be the dad of the kid who's the predator on the bus, okay? So that was all that. He got his phone taken away all summer. He got that taken out of his room. He hasn't had his video games back here when he comes over. So
how long ago was this?
This was at the end of last school year. Man. Listen, I told him, do not get kicked off the bus, homie.
Now, by getting kicked off the bus, he can't ride the bus anymore, or no, was it just for that year?
It was the rest of that year. So it was only so it was only a week. Okay. It was the last week of school.
Okay.
But his mother and I, and even Molly, we work jobs where we can't just come get you at 3:30.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so there was some strategic planning on how all of us were going to go get him. So it made me angry enough to empty his room out.
I got you.
So just tell your little daughter, don't be grabbing dudes' butts on the bus.
Nah, she'll punch him, I think.
Nah, yeah, heck yeah.
She's a tough little girl.
Good. So that was that. So that's why that setup is there. All right, so Big Ten, you're leaning on that Michigan. If Penn State beats Michigan, you're going with OSU.
Or OSU and Penn State, one of them. It's going to be one of them.
Okay. All right, cool. So you're kind of iffy on who it is. You want it to play out.
Yes.
I still think it's going to be Michigan. And I'm going to talk about Michigan here a little later.
Okay.
Who is this? Clemson? We said Clemson was... It's going to be Clemson or NC State.
So Clemson, though, based on the strength of schedule, I still see them on the outside looking in.
Okay.
No matter what the situation is.
So let me ask you this then. Let's say NC State comes in and beats Clemson, wins the ACC outright, wins the ACC regular season, wins the ACC.
There won't be nowhere near the playoff picture just because it's NC State.
Just because it's NC State.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we'll take them out. So up at the top right here is UGA and Bama.
Okay. Seeing Georgia play so far compared to Bama, I don't see them losing.
Nobody's beating Georgia
this whole year. I don't see them losing at all.
At all.
Unless they lay a stupid goose egg, but I don't see them losing at all this year.
I don't either.
At all, one bit.
I see Bama losing one before the SEC championship. To who? I don't know.
A&M again?
Listen, we caught lightning in a bottle last year, and I was at that game. And it is one of the best sporting events I've ever been to in my life. I've never heard a stadium or any place as loud as I've ever heard that place. And I don't know if you know the rumors of Kyle Field, but have you ever heard the stadium sways?
Yeah, they sure. Yeah.
That was true last year against Alabama. That place was moving like wild. And Riley... Dad, I got him those tickets for his birthday. And Dad, that
before the booty grabbing?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was way before the booty grabbing. So Dad, that's the best birthday present I've ever gotten in my life. Like I'll never forget this type thing. You know, that's
good, man.
That's
it's
how
cool.
that's how wild it was. And usually when I go to games, I'm scouting out the exits. Hey, we're going to scoot out in the middle of the fourth quarter. We're going to beat this traffic, whatever. My only regret for that game is not running down to the first level and running on the field. As soon as he kicked that field goal and we made it, him and I were out. Boom, to the car. And we beat that traffic because everybody was on the field. Now, if I had to do it all over again, Riley and I would have been partying on that field a little bit before we took off. But, you know, hindsight's always 20/20, you know what I mean? But as far as this year beating Bama, they're not going to do it with the way they're playing right now.
I don't see that either.
They struggled with Miami last night. A&M's defense is going to keep them in games because they're great. They kind of last night they gave up 27 first downs, but they didn't give up a touchdown. So they got a bend don't break type defense, and I like that.
And 2 other dudes got ejected as well. 2 big players got ejected.
So they had one of those 4 freshmen that got suspended was a starter. Denver Harris is a starter. They lost Damani Richardson to the targeting. They lost the other dude to the targeting. However, that number 1 that came in place of Damani Richardson, he is a true freshman and played an outstanding game. So A&M's defense, and they already have Shamar Evans starting a true freshman. They've already got Walter Nolan starting. They've already got true freshmen on that defense starting. I'm not worried about that defense for years to come. I'm not talking about just this year. That defense is going to be a top 2 or 3 defense in the next 2 years because of all these freshmen who are getting playing time right now. Jalen Jones came back from injury last night, played outstanding. He went to Steele, played great. Chappelle played great last night. So that defense I'm not worried about that defense. That defense can play with any high-powered offense and give A&M a chance. So there's their chance against Alabama, okay? A&M's defense, okay, I'm going to get you the ball, do something with it. Max Johnson hadn't played all year. He struggled. But some of the throws he made yesterday are throws that King would not have made. You know what I mean? So King super, super indecisive, where Max Johnson is going through a progression, and if he sees something he likes, he's going to take it right then. I like that. So Max Johnson, throughout the course of the year, is going to get a lot better. I think he's going to have a real big test this weekend against Arkansas.
Hey, man, I like Arkansas.
Do you?
I do.
I wish they would have lost yesterday, and they almost did.
Oh, dude. So I have a real good buddy of mine. He's a big Arkansas fan.
Okay.
He just doesn't like any Texas teams. He's just an Arkansas fan. And he actually got the Razorback tattooed on his arm.
Yeah.
Big Arkansas fan. So I'd always, be talking crap to him back and forth. But, I started watching him a little bit.
KJ Jefferson's, he's nice.
Nice, man.
He's super nice.
He's the make or break for their team. He goes down, they're done.
Right.
100%.
I can agree with that.
So he's got to stay healthy. But I feel like they might have a winning season this year, but I don't know how far they're going to get. Just because you have still Bama and
you still got Bama. I think A&M's going to come in and surprise them and beat them.
Think so?
Yeah, I think so. I think that defense is going to be so. Last year, A&M with Calzada, they should have killed A&M. It only won by, I think they won less than a touchdown. The first half, Arkansas just destroyed A&M, just doing whatever they wanted. Second half, Jimbo said something in that locker room. A&M came out on that first drive, and A-Chain took one. Got us back in the game. I think this year is going to be I think Max, he didn't have a great game last night, but I think he's going to come out this week knowing he's the starter. Because I think it was all week this past week, who's going to start. We don't know. And then on Friday, it's, hey, Max is starting. This week, Max is, okay, I'm the starter. I think he's going to come in and
big confidence booster.
Yeah, a little confidence booster.
I still got Arkansas this week.
They also got
still got Arkansas this week.
Okay, you got Arkansas this week. I still got A&M, and I'll give you another reason why. Bryce Foster, true freshman center last year, all SEC freshman team. He missed the first two games because he had mono. He played last night. Mono is a serious illness to where you have to shut down. There's no physical because it swells your spleen. You rupture your spleen, you're in trouble. You know what I mean? You don't have a spleen. So he shut down. He played last night, and he said that is the most physically painful football game I've ever played in my life. But he played the whole game. So this year this next week I expect him to be fully healthy. He's the center. He's the heartbeat of that offensive line. He's the one pointing, calling the plays and the schemes, what we're doing. So I think A-Chain is going to have a big game. He's going to run all over Bumper Pool. You know who that is? Number 10 on Arkansas's defensive linebacker. His name is literally Bumper Pool.
I didn't know that.
Like the pool table, His dad was a professional pool player or something like that. I said, if I have a kid, I'm naming him Bumper. Stupid hillbillies. So I got A&M in that one, and I'm
gonna take Arkansas.
So I got A&M there. I've got A&M the next week against Mississippi State, and then the next week is when they go to Tuscaloosa, which will give Max that gives Max two games
to prep
to get in to get ready, and I think by that time A&M will be ready to give Alabama a game. Do I think they win? Probably not. But I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it'll be. Do you remember the year that Johnny beat Alabama?
Yeah.
And then the next year,
they got close, but they lost.
They got close and they lost.
Yeah.
Exactly.
At Kyle Field.
So that's how I think it's going to go.
I could see that.
It's going to be close, but A&M might fall, and then A&M will win out. I think after that, I think they'll smack Ole Miss.
Better.
Yeah, I hate Ole Miss, dude. Lane Kiffin is such a weirdo. Can't stand that dude. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. So for Bama, I think their biggest test is going to be Arkansas, A&M. That's about it, I think.
They play Tennessee?
Let's look up their schedule. Because ultimately you're talking about who's going to play Georgia in the SEC championship. Alabama Crimson Tide football. All right, so they opened up as like 40-point favorites against Vanderbilt this week.
Who's that?
Alabama. So Vegas is still very high on Alabama. So they got Vanderbilt in Tuscaloosa this week, and then next week they go to Arkansas. So it's Alabama at Arkansas, which will be a great game.
Yes.
The following week, A&M comes to town. The week after that, Alabama goes to Tennessee. I'm not sold on Tennessee yet.
Neither am I.
Let me watch a couple more weeks. Let me get Tennessee into SEC play. After that, Mississippi goes to Tuscaloosa. After that, Alabama goes to LSU. The next week, Alabama goes to Ole Miss. Alabama, Austin P or Pay or whatever they are. And then the last week is Auburn at Tuscaloosa.
Iron Bowl.
So you've got 1, 2, 3 weeks where I might put Alabama on upset alert. At Arkansas, against A&M, at Tennessee. Of those 3 games, how do you think they come out?
I think Arkansas is going to be the only close one.
The only close one?
Yeah. I don't know, man.
So back to, I'm not ready to really say Arkansas is great. Maybe they're not as good as we thought. I think they lose one of those games. With
Tennessee, I'm with you. I'm not sold on them yet.
Mm-hmm.
And A&M, I don't know, man. I guess we got to see how these next 2 weeks play out.
A&M will tell you how good they are in the next 2 weeks. And when I say A&M, I mean that offense. Because you know that defense is going to come to play. Defense is just – they've given up 2 touchdowns in 3 weeks. All right?
I think it's going to be what Bama team shows up to.
Right.
I mean –
No, absolutely. The one thing that I have noticed, Texas did it very well. Texas watched the A&M game film on Bryce Young. You just got to get pressure on him. If you get pressure on Bryce Young, you can beat Bryce Young. That's how A&M beat Alabama last year, is making Bryce Young uncomfortable. And they were sending the house at Bryce Young every other play last year.
So on that, one of the last plays in Texas Bama game, had that corner. I think it was a corner of the DN. Had that free shot at Bryce. You make that tackle, it's turnover.
Yeah.
They drive down the field.
Yeah.
They win.
Yeah.
That was a big tackle they missed. And what did Bryce Young do? Ran it down the field.
Scored. Exactly. So you just got to make him uncomfortable. They should have had They should have had pressure from the other way too. He thinks he's by this one. Here I am, and that's how A&M beat him. I think it was one play last year. Defensive end came hard. Clemens came hard. He got away from Clemens, but there was Leon O'Neal. Right as he got away from Clemens, there's Leon O'Neal coming through. That's how you got to do it. You can't just. He's going to get away from your first one maybe. So, yeah, man. So UGA, I'm still going to say Bama's going to be in there with them, but UGA is going to smoke Bama. There's no way Bama can run with Georgia.
So, man, I don't know, man. I never go against Bama ever. Mm-hmm. I never do. I don't like Bama. I don't like them at all. But I never go against them just because of how they are. I even had them picked last year over Georgia
in the national championship game. Yeah,
and Georgia just came in, and although I don't know, man,
It's so hard to beat the same team twice in a year, especially in college.
But I feel like Georgia is still a little bit more complete than Bama. I think Bryce Young doesn't look as confident or as comfortable as he is.
No, for real. Yeah, so, I agree with that.
But I do have Georgia number 1 all the way undefeated all the way through.
But Stetson, I saw he's only played 9 drives this year.
Are they benching him every half?
Yeah, he's only played 9 drives this year. Guess what the results of all 9 of those drives are? Touchdowns. He finishes drives. If he's playing second halves in these games, they're beating teams 70-0. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they're still beating teams 50-0. Oh, who did they kill yesterday? South Carolina. 40-something to 6.
I think it was 48-6.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's almost unfair watching Georgia, because Georgia is now the Alabama that Alabama used to be. Alabama's not Alabama right now. I think Alabama's how Georgia used to be. We're going to be close. But
I think the only good thing that's going to help Bama this year is they don't play Georgia to the end.
Yeah.
So I think they have plenty of time to get better. But I don't know, man. Like you said, seeing Georgia, I think Georgia's going to.
They're so strong.
Yeah.
They got the bet. So one of the guys said on TV today, Georgia's got 3 tight ends who are All-American candidates. 3 tight ends who would probably be the best tight end room in some of the NFL tight end rooms. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, these tight ends are already better than some of these tight ends in the NFL.
Yeah.
And that's how Stanford was one year with Ertz. I can't remember who the other one was. There was a tight end from Stanford that went before Ertz, and I can't remember who it was. But they had 3 tight ends that year, and they were all good. But Ertz ended up being the better one. So UGA, Bama, SEC championship, and UGA wins. Yeah. So who's your playoffs teams? Give me your 3.
Okay, 3 or 4? 4.
Yeah, 4. Sorry.
You're good. I'm gonna have Georgia number 1.
You wanna write it down on the white right there?
Yeah, I got you.
So
okay, so then
yep.
I'm gonna go with Georgia number 1.
Yep.
It's 1, 2, 3.
Oh, you're gonna put them in order. I'll do that too.
And then I'm gonna have the 5 looking outside and 5 and 6.
Yep, I'll do that.
Okay, so Georgia number 1. I'm probably gonna go with Bama number 3.
So you're gonna put Georgia and Bama playing in the SEC championship and then playing 3 weeks later in the playoffs?
You know what? I didn't think of that. Hold on.
No, that wouldn't be right. Bama would have to be 4 for that. I'm sorry.
Okay. So Bama number 3 then.
You're right.
I'm gonna have, if Michigan wins out, I'm gonna have Michigan at number 2.
Yep, that's exactly where I'm going.
I'm gonna have Ohio State. Okay, number 4 and 5. I'm either gonna have Ohio State sitting at 4 or maybe 5. along with maybe Clemson, man. One of those. I'm going to have OU sitting at number 6, outside looking in. But depending on how that Ohio State, Clemson plays out, OU might sneak in, man.
Okay.
They might sneak in. I don't see them losing to anybody else this year.
Who?
Oklahoma. I think they're going to beat Oklahoma State.
I don't.
You don't think so?
Yeah, and
okay.
I'll show you.
Okay, I think they're going to beat Oklahoma State. I think they're going to, as much as I like Baylor, I think they're going to beat Baylor if they even play them. But
yeah,
I don't see them losing to anybody.
Yeah,
I think they're going to take Texas this year too.
I think they're going to take Texas. So my number 1 and 2 are the same as yours.
Georgia, Michigan.
I got Georgia and Michigan. Okay. Those are going to be, and it's going to be a toss-up too on who you put where. I don't care if Michigan's 1 or UGA's 1. Gotcha. I'm going to put UGA 1 just because, God, they look so good right now.
Okay.
Number 3, I'm going to do my 5 and 6 right now. Michigan and Ohio State at the very end is going to knock Ohio State out. And I'm going to put them at number 5 looking in.
Okay.
They're not making it. And that's still a biased pick from 2020 when the Big Ten changed all the rules up for Ohio State to make it to the Big Ten championship game, and they won that game barely against Northwestern and got in over a better A&M team. A&M would have smoked Ohio State that year, by the way. Smoked them. A&M would have smoked Notre Dame that year too.
I think, yeah, Notre Dame.
So I got Ohio State at number 5. They're out. I have the winner of Bedlam is going to win the Big 12. And I think that's going to be OSU. So I'm putting OU at number 6 out. OU. No. OU.
Oh, OU, my bad.
Yeah, I got OU out at number 6.
Okay.
And I've got Oklahoma State at number 4 getting in there.
So then who do you have at 3? Bama?
Yes.
Bama at 3.
Because here's my deal. Clemson's going to be at 7 after they lose. No, Clemson's going to be 7 is going to be NC State because they're going to beat Clemson. And Clemson will be because DJ is not a playoff quarterback. He's not good at all. So at UGA, Michigan, Bama, Oklahoma State, there's your playoffs. OSU, sorry for you. OU, sorry for you. NC State, good year, but not good enough to get in.
You know what? Hold that thought. I have Georgia 1.
Yeah.
Michigan 2.
Yeah.
Bama 3.
Okay.
I'm gonna change this up a little bit.
Yes, I love it.
I'm gonna take Ohio State out.
Yes, take Ohio State out.
Look who I'm gonna have at number 4.
Oh.
We're forgetting about the Pac-12, man.
Yeah, we are.
I'm gonna have USC coming out, and
so
then
you have USC beating Oregon.
Oh yeah, and then Ohio State.
Okay.
At number 5, outside looking in.
Okay.
And then Oklahoma 6. I'm not even gonna put Clemson anywhere there. Maybe Clemson will be 7 for me also.
Yeah. They're
and let me tell you why I have USC. Pac-12's weak, so that's gonna. It's either gonna make or break them. If they play great and they're blowing out teams, then they have a good chance of jumping in the playoffs. If they're barely winning, though, they won't be in there. But if Lincoln Riley builds what he's supposed to be building there, and with all them recruits that he stole, that he took with him to USC, I think they got a good chance of being in that playoff picture.
Let's go through their schedule real quick. They struggled in the first half with Fresno State. Let me just say that. But the second half, they blew them out. It was 45-17. They go to Corvallis this week. Oregon State, they'll win that game.
Yes.
Arizona State at USC.
They just fired their coach. Nope.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they parted ways mutually.
Yeah.
Washington State at USC the next week. Here's a game that will tell us who USC really is. At Utah.
The Utes, yeah.
Yeah. So I think the Utah team that we saw week 1 against Florida when they lost that game is not the Utah team that we expect. Utah's good.
They're hit or miss, man. They show up. You know who they remind me of? They remind me of Texas.
Okay.
They show up against big names and then they lose to sorry teams.
I'll give you that right there. And then they've got at Arizona, USC, easy. California at USC. Could be a close one, as you say. California gets up for the big game.
I'd be more worried about USC playing in Cal, in Berkeley. If they're playing at USC, I'm not worried about it.
I got you. Colorado at USC.
Colorado.
No big deal. USC at UCLA. No big deal. And then Notre Dame at USC.
Oh, so they don't play Oregon this year then?
They don't play Oregon until the possible championship game. Ooh. So I want to look at the divisions. Who is in? USC's division is Colorado, Arizona, Arizona State, USC, UCLA, and Utah.
The South, yep.
So if you get past Utah, you're playing Oregon in the SEC championship. Because Oregon, let's see who Oregon's got left.
I think Oregon has.
They beat a good. No, was this year? No, that was last year. Let's see here. They beat a good BYU team last night pretty easily.
Bo Nix looked nice.
At Washington State next year, Oregon. Stanford at Oregon. At Arizona, Oregon. UCLA at Oregon.
Where do they play Washington at?
Washington is at Oregon, and that'll be a top 20 matchup if they still. But then
circle that game.
So I'm circling the next 2 weeks on those 2 weeks in a row because they got Washington comes to town, and then Utah comes to town. If they can get past both of those games,
the only good thing about those is they're playing both of those at home, so that's going to help.
And then Oregon State to finish it out.
So Utah.
So I think it'll be USC, Oregon, and the.
So just to be clear, my top four is going to be Georgia, Michigan, Bama, and USC.
Okay, cool.
I got Ohio State outside looking in. Depending on that Penn State game and how they play out with Michigan, if they lose to Penn State and then they lose to Michigan, they're done. They're done.
Yeah.
And then OU,
they're even over here.
I agree.
Both those games.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then OU, depending on
Baylor and Oklahoma State.
Correct.
Yep. Because OU is going to trounce Texas in a couple weeks.
I think so too.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So now that you have your playoff team set, go through it.
Okay. So then I see Georgia's easily beaten USC.
Okay.
So then I got Georgia, and then I have
Bama and Michigan.
I'm gonna call the upset. I'm gonna call Michigan over Bama.
Okay.
So Michigan fans, get ready. And then I got Georgia beating the shit. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Beating the heck. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
I got Georgia beating Michigan. So,
okay. Yeah. So I got in the playoffs UGA and Oklahoma State. I think it'll be a good game for about a quarter. I think after the first quarter it'll be like 14-10-ish. And then the rest of the game will be UGA like 41-10. I bet they come out and shut Oklahoma State out the rest of the game. So I got UGA. And then Michigan v. Bama. I think that offense is way too much for Bama to handle. Will Anderson is not the Will Anderson I keep hearing about. UT shut him down. UT had Will Anderson making frustration penalties.
Yeah, dumb penalties.
Yeah, dumb penalties. Jumping off sides.
That late hit call.
That late hit. They had Will Anderson shook.
He had like 4 offside calls like in a row. Boom, boom, boom.
So you get into a game where you have a stadium full of Michigan fans, which Michigan travels well, basketball and football. So you get into an environment where there's a lot of Michigan fans. You can ruffle his feathers. So I think Michigan would beat Bama. I think they'd beat them today, and I think they'd beat them a couple months down the road. Because, and I'll tell you, I'll give you another reason. They've got 2 very capable quarterbacks. It doesn't matter who you start at Michigan. And that's one thing that Jim Harbaugh prides himself on is he wants a quarterback who can play, who can throw the ball, you know.
Man, I hate Jim Harbaugh.
I hate Jim Harbaugh too. And here's the thing, man. When Jim Harbaugh played for the Colts, I liked him. But once he started coaching, I was like, nah, I'm out on this dude. He's a weirdo.
I don't know what it is about him. I just don't like. I don't know.
His khakis. I hate his khakis.
I think every game day when wherever he's at, I think they always make fun of his khakis.
Yeah, it's his khakis for sure, bro. I don't know. So I've got Michigan, and I've been saying this for 2 weeks straight now. Georgia and Michigan will be undefeated, and they're going to beat teams by 30 points every week, both of them. And Michigan already has. Michigan has scored 50 points in each of their 3 games. So, I mean, take that for what it's worth on who they're playing. I think they played Colorado State. I don't know who they played last week. They played UConn yesterday, but UConn, they're thinking about basketball already.
We'll get a picture of this so we can remember what we.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely remember this because I picked this 2 weeks ago. So I got UGA and Michigan, and I think UGA and Michigan game will be a lot closer than you think it will. I think Michigan gives them a game, and if Michigan loses, they only lose by single digits.
If it's a close game, I think it'll be close just for a half, or maybe midway through the second quarter, and I feel like Georgia's going to pull away.
Just pull away.
I think so.
I got you on that.
I just feel like Georgia's too great. That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I think I got to see a little bit more Michigan games, which I'm sure now that they're ranked so high, they're going to be nationally televised. So we shall see.
Yeah, we'll see. Man, I'm glad you came out here today, man. I'm not happy you're wearing that hat, but it is what it is.
You want to see my underwear?
No, you got A&M underwear on?
No.
Man, I'm glad you came out. I love talking college football. I love talking trash with you. It's one of my favorite things. You and Paul, I think we should get. I think I'm going to. I'll start a little group text with both of us, with all 3 of us.
We can do it.
I'll just do that tonight after you take off, and we'll just see how this college football season plays out. Maybe we can get Paul over here.
No, we don't. It's not a maybe. He needs to get here. He should have been here today. I wanted to see what he had to say.
Yeah. It would have been funny. He's a goofball. He's a God. I don't even know how to explain that guy. So I'll tell you a funny story. He was I guess he was out at the bar Friday night, Thursday night maybe, one of those 2 nights, and he texts me at like 1 a.m. He goes, "Yo, I'm sitting here at the bar and I'm arguing with UTSA fans." And I said, "Wow, dude. You'll argue with anybody." He goes, "Bro, they're more annoying than you are." I'm not even annoying. You text me. Like, I never initiate anything.
You started.
Yeah, you start everything we argue about, Paul. So he's like, "Man, they're more annoying than you are." Oh, that's
thanks.
how you feel. So I think what we should do is man, we should watch some games together this year for sure. Oh, also, I'll tell you another funny story here in a minute. Once we watch these games and see how it all plays out, right before the playoffs start, we should
do one for the whole bowl games.
Yeah, no, we can definitely do a bowl challenge.
Okay, let's do that. I'm down.
That was a little No Women of Kyle, Texas A&M fight song, you know. So,
Right,
anyways,
we know.
what we'll do is we should podcast while watching the bowl selection show and the playoff selection. We should podcast that live.
Okay.
And then once that all ends, we'll make our picks, and we'll definitely need to have Paul here or there. Like, I got that equipment; we can go anywhere. I would prefer not to do it in like a public place, like a restaurant or whatever. Yeah, I don't like that. I tried to do an episode at a burger joint with my homie with Travis.
Too much background chatter.
It was a lot of background chatter, and I just didn't like the vibe. You know, it was like I felt eyes on me the whole time, and usually I'm not against that, but the whole vibe just threw me off, and I wasn't on my A game. So, I mean, I'm sure we could set up something right here on the big old couch. I can set the mics up some way. We can get the TVs going. I'm sure we could order some kind of big bracket, you know, for us to ride on, and we'll do that. We'll get Paul over here to do that.
Let's get it. And
then we need to figure out how to watch the national championship game together.
So every year, I'm always at Twin Peaks watching the games. I go there for the playoffs on New Year's.
Uh-huh.
I'm there from 11 in the morning to 11 at night watching the games. So
I play softball on Friday nights.
Okay.
And over at Westover Hills. And so one night we finished playing, and we're all like, hey, let's go to dinner. I've never been to Twin Peaks before in my life before this.
Okay.
And Chris is like, well, there's a Twin Peaks over there. So I'm thinking, okay, it's like Hooters, like no big deal. It's a Friday night. Yeah.
Packed.
Lingerie night.
Yeah.
So when I walked in to get a table, I literally had to
Riley with you?
Riley was not with me.
Oh, okay.
But I walked out, and I had to make sure I was at Twin Peaks and not Sugars.
Oh, okay.
And
you're at the right spot.
Yeah. No. I mean, listen, if it's not a Friday night, maybe I'll go, you know.
It's not just Friday nights they wear those. I'm just throwing it out there.
The panties and bras?
Yeah. It's not just Friday nights.
What nights is it?
They just have random lingerie nights. Or they have them on the weekend, the whole weekend.
Why am I friends with so many perverts?
Yeah.
They did open up a new one.
You don't want to see the ham chat.
Oh, no, I don't. Absolutely not.
They did. I heard that one has 2 bars inside of it, from what I heard.
Yeah, so I worked at Bubba's 33, that restaurant, and a lot of the girls went over to Twin Peaks. So
you want to go check it out?
I mean, yeah, go for it. But yeah, we'll figure that out. We'll get Paul here, and then national championship game. Maybe we'll do a post game podcast, and we'll revisit.
I'm down with that. Just let me know. We can
all
do that.
Down. So
remember your picks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I already know. I've been saying UGA and Michigan for. In fact, I think I told Molly the other day. I said the whole season is a formality. Nobody's beating these 2 teams. They're going to play in the national championship, and that's going to be one of their only losses.
When we do a follow-up podcast, I'm going to see, or I might text you throughout the season as it goes on.
Let's do it.
See if my top 4 changes.
So what I'll do is after you leave, I'll get a clean version for both of us.
Okay.
I'll put it on paper, and then I'll send yours, I'll send mine, and then we'll get Paul to send us one.
Okay.
And I'll do that in a little group with the 3 of us.
Sounds good. We can do that. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Thanks for coming out, man.
Always.
I'm glad you're on time. You surprised me when you said you were here.
Right?
Yeah, that was good. That was real good. I was expecting 8 o'clock you were going to show up.
Ham time, baby.
Yeah. Anyways, y'all go like, subscribe, and share. And do all those things that we need you to do to let us know you're listening. Share us with your friends. Tell your mothers, hey. You like moms?
I love moms.
I love moms too. Yeah, we love moms at Highly Unapologetic. But anyways, until next time, we'll catch y'all later.